Hi, this week in reading we are going to be learning about elements of poetry. Okay, before we talk about the different elements of poetry we're going to be focusing on, I want to talk to you about poetry. Have you ever heard that word? Poetry? Try saying it. Poetry. Okay, so if you know something about it, give a thumbs up. And if you don't, just give a thumbs down. It's okay if you don't know anything about poetry. We're going to learn about it this week and today. So poetry, it can be about anything, right? It can rhyme, and I'll talk to you about what rhyme is in a minute. It can be silly or serious. They can have titles. They're creative. Sometimes it talks about your feelings or your emotions. It can be short. It can be long, right? It's not always in complete sentences, right? So you're not going to always see it period at the end of the end. There are many different types of poetry, okay? So that's where we come into the elements of poetry, right? So we have poems that rhyme, that have repetition, and alliteration, okay? So let's start with rhyme. Can you say rhyme? Rhyme. Words end with the same sound or sounds. For example, cat, sat, bat, mat. Those words all end with the at sound, okay? Let's go to repetition. Repetition. Can you say that? Okay. The same words or lines are said over and over and over and over and over again. That's repetition when you keep saying a line, phrase, or word over and over and over again in the story or poem. Okay? Alliteration. Can you say alliteration? Alliteration. Good job. All right. So alliteration is words near each other that start with the same sound or sounds. Or sometimes it just starts with the same letter. For example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How about you take a turn and try to say it? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A little faster. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Okay, good job. That was fun. So what letter or sound are we focusing on? The letter P, the P sound, right? Okay, so that's a little bit about poetry. What is poetry? And elements of poetry. So every day we're going to focus on something. For example, we'll focus on rhyme today, and then we'll talk about repetition later on, and then alliteration a little bit later on. So I just want to take a moment really quickly and show you a poem, since we're talking about elements of poetry, and we're also talking and trying to understand what a poem is. So let me get out of the way. So this is a poem called Names. It has a title. Do you remember when I said earlier, some poems do not have a complete sentence? Some are short, some are long. Well, this is a short poem. Doesn't have a sentence. Doesn't have a period at the end of each one of these lines. And it's a rhyming poem, which I know we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But let's just go ahead and read this one. Names. Everybody has a name. Some are different. Some the same, some are short, some are long. All are right, none are wrong. I like my name, it's special to me. It's exactly who I want to be. All right, so I went ahead and highlighted some of these words. Do you think I highlighted words that kept repeating? Words that kept starting with the same letter? Or words that rhymed? Remember, rhyme is whenever the ending sound of that word sounds the same. Yes, I rhymed. I highlighted the rhyming words. Name and same, long and wrong, me and be. Those all rhyme. Name, same, rhyme. That's why they're in yellow. Long, wrong, rhyme. That's why they're in green. And me and be rhyme. That's why they're in blue. Okay, I just wanted to take a moment and show you an actual poem.